Hi guys, Chef Kevin Belton here. Happy National Apple Dumpling Day. That's right. We're going to make apple dumplings today. Now, as you guys are going to see, there are some things women are better than men at, and you'll see this as we go along. First off, I basically used a Granny Smith apple, and I peeled them and cored them. Well, at least Monica peeled them and cored them. I'll show you the ones I cored. That's why I said what I said. But here I have apple skins. You notice I kept the core here. Now there's a number of different things you could do with this, okay? We could put this in a pot of water, steep it in hot water, and make a tea out of the skins. And if you can't get to sleep at night, boil the apple skins, make a tea out of it with a little honey, a little cinnamon, and that acts as a natural relaxant to help you get to sleep. The other thing is, we could put a little cinnamon sugar on these, throw these in the oven, and make apple chips out of them. Just a little crispy bite. We can have that as a snack, or you could cut those up and pop those on salads and all. Some folks, a buddy told me he even takes his apple skins, puts it in a pan. You know how sometimes some of the pots get stained on the inside? He uses the apple cores to clean his aluminum pans out that way. Or put the core and the peels in a pot, put sugar over them, and just cook them down. Cook them on a low fire, long time. Take a spoon, stick that spoon in some ice. If it chills and it pours, you have like an apple spread, just concentrated, made from the peelings. So there's all kinds of things to do with the apple peelings. But here's what we're gonna do. What I have here, just brown sugar and some cinnamon, okay? About 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, just like a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, okay? I'm just gonna get this mixed up. Now, this recipe, and that's why we got started a little late today. We were having problems with the recipe. For some reason, you know, technology every once in a while throws a little kink at you. So, with this recipe, you know, I always talk about how you can cook things to your taste, all right? Well, I tell you what, this is something if you want you could do with nuts. You could do with pecans, walnuts, raisins, put in whatever you like. I've taken puff pastry to make this really easy. What I've done, I've taken a puff pastry, I got it out at room temperature, put a little flour down, and I cut it in half, all right? Once I cut it in half, I rolled it out into a log rectangle, cut that in half. So basically, we're gonna take our apple, stick our apple right on the top, okay? We're gonna take, now, always cook for the ones that you love. Monica loves raisins. So instead of putting nuts in here, I'm gonna throw some of these jumbo raisins down inside, along with our brown sugar mixture. So we have brown sugar and cinnamon going down in here. And like I said, if you want a crunch, go in with a little bit of a crunch. I do have right here basically a little melted butter. We're just going to put a spoon of that right over the top like that. Now, let's go ahead and just basically we're going to pull the sides up. And this doesn't have to be pretty. All right. And if you want, you can pinch the sides close and it'll be like little wings sticking off to the side, or they look like Baby Yoda. You can make Baby Yodas for the kids. And I'm going to put this, I have a sheet pan that I just sprayed really well. I'm going to set that in the pan here. All right, and all I did was spray that with a little spray, okay? So let's get our other one. There we go. Do the same thing. We'll throw some raisins down in there. And if you notice, these are jumbo raisins. That's why they're all different colors. Get a little bit of our brown sugar mixture packed down in. See, this is something definitely that the kids can help do. All right? Pack that down in there. Here we go. A little bit of that butter right on the top to help moisten that as it goes down in. Let's pull it up. Lay it over. Come on. You can get there. And you know, the puff pastry here it might tear a little bit, but you know what? Each one will look a little different, and that's fine. So all I'm doing is pinching the sides, pressing the top down. Let's get this one in the pan. Now, let me move this out of the way. What we want to do, we want to take our butter and just brush over the puff pastry with some butter, okay? Just brush that all around. This is going to add a nice flavor. It's also going to help the puff pastry get a nice toasted golden color. All right, we can actually pour some of that on and just spread it around as it goes. Come on, how about this side? There we go.
And if you're crafty, you can make leaves or put a cinnamon stick in the middle.
And I don't know if y'all heard that. If you're crafty, you can make leaves with a little cinnamon stick in the middle. See, guys, that's what I'm saying. The ladies are better at some things than others. I try to make pretty food, but it doesn't always come out that way. It usually tastes pretty good. Now, the other thing I'm going to do with this, cinnamon sugar. Let's just take a little cinnamon sugar and sprinkle on this. Basically, this will give a nice little crunch on the outside as it bakes. Now, I have the oven preheating, 375 degrees. These are going to go in the oven roughly for about 40 minutes, okay? So they get nice and brown. So we'll slide those in. And let's make a little glaze for it. Let me show you what I'm going to do for this glaze. Now, this is a nice, really simple glaze that all we're going to use, I have a little powdered sugar, I have a little lemon juice, and a little vanilla. Now, if you want, you can also put a little touch of milk in this. I could get the vanilla open, but we just need a tiny bit. We don't need much liquid here. So look, just a touch of vanilla. I am going to use, let's get it started. Last time I did this, I used too much. So that's why you only need a little at a time. Let's put in a teaspoon of lemon juice in there. And you're going to see that this glaze, that little bit of liquid, you know, comes together really, really quick. With that little bit of moisture in there. Okay, let's do a little more. Here, let's put in some more vanilla. Oh, yeah, I don't know if y'all heard that. Monica went, oh, too much, too much, too much. I don't think it's going to be too much. You see?
Put in the lemon.
Huh?
Put in the lemon juice.
Put in lemon. You don't like the, you'd rather the lemon than the vanilla.
Not all that.
I know. There we go. We just want to kind of get this to where it'll start to liquefy a little bit. Baby, I think we need just a touch more.
Okay.
All right. Just a little more. This is one of those things, you know, there's measurements, gang, but this is one of those things, don't measure it, just kind of, just do a little at a time. Now, you can see this is fairly thick, all right? If you want to thin it out a little bit, just add a little more lemon juice to it, or put a little drop of milk in there, and that'll stretch it out. But look at the one that I did earlier. Of course, I had to have one I did earlier. Now, this one doesn't have the sugar on the outside, okay? We can take our glaze and we can just drizzle it over the top, different ways. Make a little, I might loosen this up a little bit so it'll glaze better. For me, I would just kind of paint that baby all over it. We could put on a little more of the cinnamon sugar on the top if you want.
Or caramel.
And gang, or caramel, like Monica said, or caramel. When I was coring an apple, I got a little overzealous when I was coring it, and it cracked on me. I put the brown sugar in the inside, I wrapped it in a phyllo dough to try to hold together.
Puff pastry.
The puff pastry, I keep saying phyllo, puff pastry. And this is the result, gang. I thought the puff pastry was going to be able to hold it together, but it quite didn't. Y'all should see the face I'm getting right now. But I tell you what, this is not pretty, but I tell you what, it eats just as good and tastes just as good. So here's our pretty one. And you know what else we can go with this? How about a little ice cream? So there we have our apple dumpling for Apple Dumpling Day. with a little bit of ice cream. I tell you what, this is going to be so good, so sweet. And remember, inside of that apple, if you want to crunch, put nuts. Monica like raisins. That's why I loaded that baby up with raisins, okay? Try this recipe. Really simple, really easy. Now, if you're great at making dough from scratch, like pie dough, go ahead and use that. Make your homemade pie dough. If you don't have the pastry sheets, you can go ahead and use the frozen pie sheet. Take it out of the pie pan and let that rest a little bit and roll that out to stretch it out and use that if you want, okay? So make it nice and easy for you. Keep it nice and simple, all right? I appreciate you all cooking with me today. Keep washing those hands, keep masking up, doing what you're doing. For WWL, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and we will see you soon.